Rise and Shine again. You know, I'm hanging out in the book of Exodus and looking at chapter 32 this week, and we read about the Israelites making this golden calf. As Moses is up on Mount Sinai, they get impatient, right? They're waiting for Moses to come down, and they get impatient. They get impatient with Moses. They get impatient with the Lord. So they decide to fall back into old ways. And I'm thinking about this through the lens of love. You know, so often we get frustrated with ourselves. We get frustrated with the situations around us. We get frustrated with God because He moves at His pace. He moves in His timing. And so often His timing doesn't always align with our timing or what we want to be the timing. You see, but the Lord moves in His timing because He knows exactly how much time we need to prepare ourselves. He knows how much time we need to prepare our hearts to make sure that the things around us are safe and secure, so that when we take that step in security. We take that step knowing that we're prepared to walk into His wishes, into His will, His desires. So often we try to get and go ahead of God and what He has planned and get ahead of His timing. And oftentimes I've figured out that when I do that in my life, I get all out of whack. I start to operate out of bounds, and things don't typically go well. They always end up okay, but they don't go well. It's not always a pleasant experience. You see, God does that. God moves slowly sometimes because He loves us, because He's patient, because He's waiting for us, for our character, for our spiritual growth to come into alignment with where we need to be so that we can walk into His promises and walk into the things that God has destined for us. I want to encourage you today. Don't live life like the Israelites. Don't live life impatient. Right? God has a plan. God has perfect time set for that thing that He's called you to do. Rest in that patience. Rest in that love. Let that anxiety go. Because when we live anxious lives, we're living according to a standard that the world has set up for us. We're living according to a timing that man created. We're not called to live on man's timing. We're called to live in God's timing, which means we need to have patience with God. We need to recognize that maybe God's not moving, or maybe God's not yet acting because our hearts aren't quite ready for what He has in store for us. So I want to challenge you with that today. As you go throughout your day, maybe something's going on in your life, and maybe there's a spirit of anxiety with you. Be patient. Rest in His peace. Rest in His timing, and rest in His love. Because He hasn't responded yet. He hasn't given you that answer you're looking for just yet. Because He's waiting for your heart to align with His. Because He loves you and He wants to protect you. God bless you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.